All right, it's October. That means it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So one of the things I always think about when it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month is that just being aware of something doesn't necessarily prevent it, doesn't necessarily cure it, doesn't necessarily really give you any more chance at all against it. So we don't want to just be aware of it. We want to do things about it and make sure that, if you're a woman, especially, that it does not have to be part of your life. And, if it was a part of your life, or a part of your child's life, your mother's life, grandmother's life, that, some things you could do to make it less likely to, one, reoccur or to be, any more in your family lineage. So first thing to consider is vitamin B6, pyridoxine. So B6 is amazing at aiding our body in the detoxification of excess estrogens. People take birth control like crazy right now. Birth control depletes vitamin B6, pyridoxine, which is super unfortunate because that makes a person more susceptible to estrogen-induced gene damage. And if you have more gene damage, unfortunately, especially hormone-related, then your risk of a hormone-related cancer is also likely to be increased. On those same lines, there is something called vitamin E. You may have heard of it. A vitamin E deficiency is linked to higher undesirable, or we call pathogenic, ratios of estrogens. So you get an imbalance of the undesirable estrogens when you have a vitamin E deficiency. And guess what? Our foods, real whole food, is loaded with vitamin E. Processed food, zero vitamin E. So you got to put the real stuff in. And then a lot of times in processed food, guess what? They put in vitamin E, but they put in DL-alpha tocopherol, which is completely synthetic. It has a flip structure compared to natural form vitamin E. It actually increases your risk of all kinds of crazy things, autoimmune diseases, prostate cancer if you're a guy. So we want to stay away from synthetic vitamin E's, but we want to nourish our body with fats, foods that are loaded with these fat-soluble vitamin E's. The next one I was thinking about is magnesium. Heard about magnesium all the time, but guess what? Magnesium drives the enzymes that enable your body to detox, eliminate, reduce toxic estrogen metabolites. So magnesium, if you're eating processed food, load up processed food, you're not getting much magnesium, right? If you're eating lots of greens, eating good meats, nuts, seeds, you're gonna get a bunch of magnesium. And your body is going to benefit. The likelihood of having breast cancer, the likelihood of recurrence is going to be decreased. Fourthly is something called cysteine. You may have heard of N-acetylcysteine. I've talked about it so many times because it's such a big deal for our immune system. Well, guess what? That cysteine, part of why it's such a big deal, this amino acid, is because it helps prevent estrogen from oxidizing. So if an oxidized substance in the body is usually damaging. It's a free radical, it's something that's a continual irritant to the body. However, when we are having sufficient amounts of cysteine coming in, so that's like why I promote goat whey protein. That's why we promote grass-fed meats and that kind of stuff, and not vegetable proteins and that kind of thing, because they're low in cysteine, whereas like goat whey protein is very, very high in cysteine. So decreased oxidation of estrogens can lead to buoyant skin, beautiful skin, great moods, brain that's strong, heart that's strong, and a decreased risk in these harmful metabolites that would promote breast cancer in a person. So there are, of course, countless other nutrients that are associated with estrogen metabolism, progesterone metabolism, and detoxification related to breast cancer. But the thing we got to think about is really food is information. That food is powerful, and if we eat the right foods, whole foods, living, colorful foods, then we're going to get tons of these B6s. We're going to get loads of vitamin E. We're going to get loads of magnesium. We're going to get this amino acid cysteine in abundance, so our body can produce all the glutathione it needs to detoxify and keep these estrogens from being metabolized in a non-desirable manner. This is yet another reason to look at your food and maintain this robust, colorful plan. Push away that ultra processed food. I know we talk about it all the time, but there is a real reason. And being aware of breast cancer, that it exists, is not enough to cure it. It's not enough to prevent it. It's not enough to help overcome it. What we need is that daily information, that processed food eliminated those whole foods that are loaded with vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals and antioxidants and a plethora of essential amino acids that give our body all the information it needs to grow happy cells, to repair DNA, to keep bad, unhealthy genes from forming or turning on. Because literally the right food, whole food, is your ally. Food does not have to be our enemy. It can be our ally. And I don't think there's any other ally that we can get as much from as food, because we're doing it so often. It can, maybe it's 1 time a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, 10 times a day. I mean, what else are you doing compared to the amount of information that's coming in via food? I will say though, because I love exercise, physical activity is also a great ally when it comes to reducing risk, reducing reoccurrencing, supporting cure of breast cancer. Get this, women who exercise for 2.5 hours per week were 55% less likely to have breast cancer recur in them after they've been told they were clear. That is compared to women who did not follow those guidelines, who did not get the 2.5 hours of exercise in a week. In 1 week, if you got 2.5 hours of exercise in, you would have a 55% decreased likelihood of cancer reoccurrence. That is awesome, right? I mean, of course, one of the problems is people are not exercising. So you're leaving all of that on the table. Don't do it. Do not fall to that. There's another study that showed that 40% of women who had breast cancer, there was a 40% reduction in women who had breast cancer of reoccurrence or death if they just completed 30 minutes 5 times per week. So this is small amounts, but yet you can get 40%, 55% decreased likelihood of reoccurrence or death from breast cancer if you're just doing this simple amount of exercise. Exercise for breast cancer is vital. It is a massive preventive agent. If you did nothing else as a preventative measure, but you took up exercise, you consistently exercise for 3 hours per week as a preventative, that would reduce your all-cause potential risk of breast cancer by 20%. And in fact, there's actually a couple studies showing upwards of 40% risk reduction by getting in 3 hours of physical activity per week. Is that awesome? That just shows us how many of us are sitting, not being active, because there's that much reduction potential available for us that is completely free, does not require any kind of doctor's note. It's just us getting out and making it happen. And when women get past the year 50 years of age, get into that fifth decade, the more consistent they exercise then, the greater the benefit they get, the even greater likelihood that they're not going to have breast cancer, and exercise is actually a preventative for them. All right, so I talked about the food, those nutrients, the exercise. Give yourself every opportunity possible. It's not about just being aware, it's about acting. That is what health accumulation is. It is acting. We have this knowledge, we have this understanding, now let's act on it. I'm Dr. Matt, and if you've ever suffered from breast cancer, if you have family members, that's super sad, it's super unfortunate, but what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take control. What we can control, we're gonna take control. And we're not gonna allow ourselves to just be thrown in the cattle line and run through. No, we're gonna take control of our health destiny by making the optimal decisions related to food, related to physical activity, and even thinking. All right, I'll see you guys later. And if you like the video, share it, click yes, I like, and let's get this news out to all the people that